Let me just quickly talk to you about how to get a business loan if you have a low income and you are, let's say you don't have paperwork, or you do have paperwork, but the paperwork is a little like sloppy. So you're not really sure about the quality of the paperwork that you have. So you just want to go for a low doc or no doc. So here are the steps I really want you to pay attention to. Okay. The very first thing I want you to do right now is to actually learn about what the lenders are looking for. The cool thing is, if you're looking for a business loan with no income or low income, you have a variety of lenders. You have big banks on one side, you have credit unions, you have big national banks, small local banks, you have alternative lenders, you have online lenders. So you have a lot of players who come to the field, and they're all trying to vie. They all are vying for your business. So what I want you to do really is to position yourself. You got to ask yourself, what am I offering? Yes, I'm looking for a business loan, and I can't prove my income, or my income is low. Okay. The question is, what are you bringing to the table? Do you have skin in the game? This is important, boss. You got to have skin in the game, because a lot of lenders, they ask for time in business, like they want you to be in business for 6 months or 9 months minimum. Do you qualify on that end? In other words, are you in business for 6 months, 9 months? Okay, if that's the case, check. What about your personal credit score? Because you're asking the lender to say, listen, you know what? I want y'all to give me your cash, but I can't prove my income, or I have low income. Okay, what are you bringing to the table? What kind of skin do you have in terms of FICO score? Do you have a high FICO score? Yes, check. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. We love having this kind of conversation. This kinds of conversation every now and then. So when I'm talking to you about learning what lenders are looking for, I'm talking about time in business. I'm talking about personal credit score, but I'm also talking about your business credit score, boss. Because see, you are trying to distract the conversation from your income. You're trying to distract the conversation from the fact that you have no documentation, or you have a sloppy documentation process. That's okay. I ain't trying to really qualify what you have, but I'm just saying that you need to think about your business credit score to sort of mitigate the risk that you pose to the lender in terms of you not having all the paperwork that you should have in the first place. Which means what? It means your paydesk score must be kind of high, above 80. The next thing I want you to really think about here is your cash flow, because you want to have a business loan, low income, no doc, low doc, okay. But what about your cash? Are you in a situation where you're able to actually prove that you have cash coming in? It's not about, see, a lot of times, we all get bogged down into technicalities. I don't have an income statement. I don't have a P&L. Okay, all right. So what's the problem? You don't have P&L, but are you generating cash flows? Cash is king, or queen, as they say, where I come from, right? I mean, nobody's trying to razzle dazzle you with like, yeah, you gotta have a complete set of financial statements. If you have those, that's kind of fine. But if you don't have them, can you prove cash flow, boss? Can you prove your cash flow? Where in this economy, things are kind of complicated. If you are in a situation where you are generating consistent cash flow, then you can actually use that as a good criteria in your favor when you negotiate for a business loan with low income or no income with a lender. Okay, collateral, same thing with collateral. What I'm trying to say here is that if you want a loan and you don't have documentation to prove that you do have collateral, let's say you have a piece of machinery that's just been sitting in your warehouse for the last 10 years or whatever, and it still has value though. It still has value. You can collateralize. You can use it as collateral for your next business loan. Okay, it doesn't matter if you have low income. It doesn't matter because the loan is collateralized. So your income is not a problem, because if you make a mistake, if you start playing games, if you're not answering the lender's calls because you're thinking about defaulting on the loan, they're just gonna repo your ass through the collateral. That's just what it is. Okay, and don't forget about the industry. Your industry plays an important role Okay, I'm not talking about the whole economy. I'm talking about your specific industry. Because the thing is, every now and then the economy goes through ups and downs, through yo-yo, what we call operational yo-yos. Okay, like what we had a couple of days ago when one bank filed for bankruptcy, another bank is like so the whole stock market is kind of going crazy, and then you're thinking, well, I'm doing fine. My industry is cool. We're still clients are coming. We're making money. So if you happen to have a positive history in your industry, say it. Mention it when you talk to the lender. Okay? Because everything that you can have that goes in your favor, you want to mention it. The second thing I want you to do, so the first thing was you have to learn what lenders are looking for. Things like time in business, your personal credit score, your business credit score, your cash flow, your collateral, the industry you're in, right? The next thing I want you to pay attention to is to be clear about the kind of financing you need. This is really important because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, they make the mistake of applying for a business loan, low doc, no doc, with doc, whatever you say it, whatever you want to call it. They apply for a loan where like a loan that is not suitable for their structure. When we talk about structure, we have several levels here. I mean, I'm looking at several layers. I look at the legal point of view here, okay? And I also look at the operational point of view. I also look at what we call the chronological point of view. Let me just break it down for you. I don't want to confuse the hell out of you here. So when I talk about deciding on the type of loan, operationally, legally, and chronologically, operationally, I'm just saying, hey, listen, if you apply for, let's say you apply for a business loan, but you apply for a business term loan, but in actuality, what you need is an equipment loan, or you need a merchant cash advance, or you need an invoice factoring arrangement. Right there, you have a gap. You have a gap in the operational part of things, right? That's what I call operational discrepancy. That's what we call operational discrepancy. Then you have the chronological discrepancy. What does that mean? It just means that you want to have a business loan, low income, no doc, with doc, whatever, and you want to have a 3-year repayment window. But the lender, after analyzing your paperwork, thinks that you might qualify for 5 years, or even worse, they want to give you a loan for 1 year, but you want 3 years. See the delta there, the gap. Okay. By the way, boss, I just want to quickly remind you of today's conversation, the topic we're having here. I'm explaining to you the hacks, the tricks, the tips you need to implement if you are trying to get a business loan with low income, no doc, low doc. How do you get up a massive amount right off the bat? So I spoke about the chronological discrepancy. I spoke about the operational discrepancy. Now let's talk quickly about the legal discrepancy. This is pretty clear. This is pretty simple. Let's say the lender does not lend to LLCs, but you happen to be an LLC, or the lender does not lend to single member LLCs, but you happen to be a single member LLC. Right there is a gap, there is a delta. Or they lend only to S corporation, or they don't lend to sole proprietorship, and you happen to be a sole proprietorship. So those are the three things I want you to really pay attention to. And so I also want to say one thing, that when we talk about the different types of loans, the different types of financing, you have SBA loans, you have micro loans, you have online loans. Now, online loans for your business loan, I mean, the cool thing is when we speak about online loans for businesses, it doesn't matter if the business is an LLC, LP, S corporation, C corporation, doesn't really matter. What really matters here is, are you legally constituted at the state level to be a corporation? Boss, talk to me about that. And I keep insisting on that fact that we're not sitting here having a conversation about those sort of lethargic companies, those sort of empty shells. Like you file your paperwork like 10 years ago, and you still think you have an LLC, but you haven't spoken to the authorities in your state for the last 10 years. What's up with that? Okay, we just got to stop this sort of amateur sort of way of doing things. Okay, we're talking about a real company, a legit company. Okay, now, besides microloans, besides online loans, you can choose also lines of credit. Okay, you can have business credit cards. You can have business cash advances, because all those things are low income, there are sources of funding, sources of business funding, right? Especially business cash advances. This is a great way. Sometimes you hear the name merchant cash advances, they mean the same thing. They are interchangeable. So when you hear the term merchant cash advances and business cash advances, those mean the same thing. So you are basically able to access whatever source of financing that you need for your business real quick. Okay, and this is important. But again, go back to what I said, make sure that you have paid attention to those three elements: the chronological element, the legal element, and the operational element. So another type of business funding that you might want to think about is the cash flow loan. It's called the cash flow loans. So cash flow loans are basically what they sound like. Those are loans that are based on cash flow. Okay, so it doesn't matter. If you remember, I was just talking to you about the fact that it doesn't matter whether you have a low doc, no doc, or low income. If you can generate some cash flow, you will get the funding that you need. The third thing I want you to do. So again, let me just quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about how to get a business loan with low income, no doc, low doc. It doesn't matter which states you're applying from. Even Hawaii, even the U.S. Virgin Islands, the U.S. territories, Hawaii, Alaska, everything. This tips apply to all the continental and the non-continental United States. All right. So number one, you want to learn what lenders are looking for. Number two, you want to decide the type of loan or financing that you need, right? The third thing is you need to find out how to get approved. See, this is where a lot of the work actually starts, because it doesn't matter whether you have low credit or bad credit. The question you got to ask yourself is, have you done the legwork to ensure approval? Because lenders have different rules when it comes to approval. Some lenders are flexible, some lenders are not. But the question is, have you done your research? You gotta do research by watching shows like this, by reading reviews, online reviews, by there are websites where you have several compare and contrast articles that actually gave you some kind of like you have the top 10, the top 5, the listicles. So you have those rankings. So you have to really pay attention. Okay. So once you actually find out how to get approved, you basically have to ask for something. There's something called pre-approval, and you want to really pursue pre-approval really importantly, because then you know how much you could expect to get. You know what you're getting yourself into even before applying. This is pretty good because you're actually saving your FICO score. You're preserving your FICO score. Okay, then you want to gather your documents. So everything that actually that's important for your business loan, you want to gather it. Okay, everything from your tax returns to your business licenses and permits, to your operational documents, to your legal foundation, to your legal paperwork. Everything from your articles of incorporation to your articles of organization to your certificate of good standing to whatever it is, you want to gather that, and you want to confirm with the lender that the paperwork you have is definitely fine. It is definitely okay. Okay. The next thing I want you to do right now, after doing all the research, you got to choose a lender. Okay. Now, boss, when we talk about choosing a lender, just make sure that you choose a lender who understands your business. It's not just about a lender who will give you the money. If the lender has no idea about your business, I guarantee you're not getting as much money as much funding as you could potentially get. Let's say, for instance, you're asking for, let's say you're asking for $100,000, right? $100,000, but you happen to be in oil and gas, or you happen to be in, let's say, a garage. You're doing auto sales, but the lender you are actually talking to, the lender has no idea, no experience whatsoever. They have never actually loaned money to anybody in the industry. Do you really believe that the underwriting team has the capacity, the intellectual capacity, and the analytical capacity to know exactly how you generate revenue if they've never actually loaned to somebody in your industry? That's why we always talk about operational compatibility. So what you want to do here is that you want to do research in your industry first and see the lenders, which lenders are like the best players in your industry. Let me give you an example. If you are a cargo van driver, you're a delivery driver, and you have a cargo van, systematically you want to go you want to look for vendors. I mean, not vendors. You want to look for lenders who will actually finance a cargo van, not a sprinter van, not a box truck, not a truck, not a 18-wheeler. No, not a semi. You want specifically those who are financing cargo vans, because the requirements might be different. If you move from cargo van to sprinter van to box truck and to straight trucks and whatnot, you might be thinking, well, the requirements are the same, but the lenders might have a different type of requirements. So when we talk about choosing a lender, we're speaking about you choosing between direct lenders such as banks, credit unions, and online lenders, or lending marketplaces. Okay, you have the Lendier of the world, the NBC, the National Business Capital of the world. Okay, and you also have P2P, P2P, peer-to-peer lending marketplaces, peer-to-peer lending platforms. Okay, everything from Lending Club, okay, to there's another one I'm actually blanking, to Smart Biz. So you have those as sort of lending marketplaces, and I really have to. I should remember the fact that you also have alternative lenders. Okay, so it's all about choosing a lender that is suitable for your specific business. The next thing I want you to do here is to actually fill out the application. So when we talk about filling out the application, we're talking about making sure that you actually, ideally, what we actually advise our viewers, our dear viewers, to do is to actually print out the application. So you want to print out the application and very quietly in your house, whatever, basement or in your garden, take the time to go through all the questions. Go through all the questions and fill out the application. If you choose to apply with a bank or a credit union, you want to do everything, and then you do not apply online, because online you have this the urgency, the pressure of you can't really because once you actually log into the application process, you have a timestamp, you have a time limit whereby the system will kick you out automatically. It's just part of their encryption security models, security protocols. You don't want that. You don't want to fight for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. You want to take time, print out the application, and just sit down and go through everything. Then once you do everything, you have looked at the application, you sign the paperwork is all great or whatever. You go to a branch. That's when you go to a branch, and then you sort of have the branch manager or somebody in the loan department actually go over the loan application and make sure everything is totally fine. That's one option. Second option is you can actually go to the branch directly and have everything done there, right there and there. Okay. And this is kind of cool too. The only thing is, if you go to a branch, make sure that you are prepared and that you have all the paperwork that they might ask you at the branch, because otherwise you'll be doing like a back and forth, a lot of crazy back and forth. And if the distance from your house to the nearest bank branch is kind of a lot, this could be a waste of time. Okay. Now, this strategy only works if you're speaking about, let's say, a credit union or a bank. But if you have an online lender, or if you had an alternative lender, then basically the situation changes, because everything happens online. Those players, they want to have everything online. Okay, they don't. I mean, which makes sense anyway, because they don't have brick and mortar branches, and they don't have as many, and they just would rather do everything. It's just a different business model, but it works too. You can do things on the phone. You can actually apply over the phone. You can apply online. Sometimes they have a one page where they actually one page on their website where you can just fill it out, just give them the basic information, and somebody will get back to you. Thank you so much for your attention, boss. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about how to get a business loan with low income, no doc, low doc, and how to get a massive amount real fast. Okay, so we spoke about making sure that you know exactly what lenders are looking for. You've thought about the type of loan you need. Okay, and find out how to get approved, gather your documents, choose a lender, and most importantly, fill out the application. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.